Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to Madam Wan Shafiza and my fellow classmates. We are from Group 1. We'll be presenting about Chapter 3, Subtopic 1, which is Supply Chain Management. Before that, I want to introduce our group member, which consists of me, Nur Najatul Najiha binti Baharudin as the first presenter, Nelly Izzati binti Muhammad Sa'ad as the second presenter, Suhana binti Muhammad Idham as third presenter, and the last presenter is Nur Fatin Damia binti Abdul Latif. What is supply chain? Supply chains are the interlinked organizations involved in creation, distribution, and sale of goods or services and distribute a specific product to the final buyer. The steps also include transferring and processing raw material into the finished goods, transporting those items, and distributing them to the end user. Not only that, producers, supplier, warehouse, transportation firms, distribution hubs, and retailers are all part of the supply chain. Next is supply chain management. Supply chain management is the management of the key business process that extends across the supply chain from the original supplier to the customer who purchased the final product. It is also a crucial process where there are several parts in this chain that need skills and knowledge. When the supply chain management is done properly, it may reduce the company's total cost while also increasing the profits. But if one link is broken, it can have a negative effect on the rest of the chain, which might be costly. Effective supply chain management also involves creating close relationship with a supplier and customer, managing costs, measuring the performance of activities, and accelerating the time to market of new products. Why companies should understand supply chains? Mapping out a supply chain is one of the critical steps in performing an external analysis. The value of putting out the supply chains properly is that it helps to assist a firm in defining its own market. When designing corporate strategies, a corporation must frequently decide whether to focus on the particular line of business or diversify into unrelated business. Therefore, each stages of supply chains such as raw material extractions and manufacture has an effectively of its own business. The supply chain also allows a company to comprehend the other parties to involve into each stages. Moreover, it also helps to it offers some insight into the attractiveness or competitiveness of industries into which the company may desire to expand. Given the risk of ineffective supply chain management, many companies choose to outsource various types in the supply chains to the third-party providers with years of experience in this vertical. Therefore, there is some benefit of outsourcing supply chains that will be presented by Suhana later. That's all for me. Next presenter will be Nelly Izzati.
Thank you, Naja. I am Nelly Izzati. We'll continue the presentation with the example of supply chain. The first one is generic supply chain. The sourcing and extraction of raw materials was the first step in this sort of supply chain. A logistic provider subsequently transport the raw goods to a supplier who serve as the wholesaler, and the materials are then delivered to a manufacturer or sometimes a number of manufacturers who refine and process them into a final product. And following that, it is transported to a distributor who wholesales the final product, which is then supplied to a retailer. And the retailer sells the goods to customer at a shop. When the buyers buy it, the cycle is complete, but the demand then drives the manufacture of a new raw materials, and then the cycle continues. The next example of supply chains is e-commerce supply chain. The e-commerce firm has a website that sells a variety of things. So when a consumer orders a product, the order is handled via technology such as shopping cart and order system or a third-party product. So a payment processor will handle the payment transactions for the order, so consequently launching a new supply chain. Payment processors use their own system, but in most situations, third parties like banks and other providers are used. So when a product order is placed, it is received by the warehouse, which guarantees that the product is ready for delivery. Next part is managing suppliers. There are 5 elements that need to be considered in managing supplier. The first one is relationship with supplier. If the strategic focus of the firm is cost leadership, collaborative relationship with supplier is important as it helps to minimize supplier and inventory related costs, enhance manufacturers' product quality, and improve production lead time. Strengthening relationship with suppliers is very important and it should be viewed as two-way street. This is because strong relationship depend on both sides working together to ensure the party involved get what they want. So here are the ways to build a better relationship with supplier. Firstly is pay on time. Paying late undermines trust and therefore damages the likelihood of building a long-term relationship. Secondly, be flexible with payment arrangements. Being able to reach payment agreement shows that the firm is prepared to be fair about meeting each other's needs. Third is have credit available. It puts the firm in a strong negotiating position as it have the capital available to back up its request. Next is give plenty of notice. This is about showing respect and understanding to the supplier. And lastly is review terms regularly. This allows an opportunity for both parties to look for improvement that could be made. Second element in managing suppliers is selecting supplier. Cost reduction in the supply area includes selecting reliable suppliers who can meet a variety of criteria. It includes supplying material of a specific quality, meeting the delivery schedule, and materials or actions will not create unnecessary costs for the firm. Most organizations enter into a contract, whether formal or informal agreement, to transact with the same supplier for a certain length of time. And they usually have their preferred supplier which they formally engage with ongoing basis for a fixed period of time. And the benefits of entering into a long-term supply contract are as follows. The first one is it provides opportunity to negotiate favorable prices and conditions. It allows the buying firm the opportunity to assess the ongoing performance of the supplier and it helps them to decide whether to continue to transact with the same supplier at the end of the contract. Criteria that the firm may use to select suppliers includes price, quality, delivery, supplier performance history, capacity, communication system, and geographical location. The third element in managing supplier is analyzing supplier cost. Supplier cost or total cost of ownership is cost associated with dealing with a particular supplier. And it has four main costs. The first one is cost of purchasing. This cost includes cost of materials, cost of ordering inventory, delivery, receiving, and inspection. Second is cost of holding inventory. This cost includes storage, insurance, obsolescence, and opportunity costs associated with holding inventory. Third is cost of poor quality. This includes cost of rework, scrap, returning defective material to supplier, and downtime that is caused by using low quality material. The last one is cost of delivery failure. It includes costs that are triggered by late or too early delivery by supplier and expediting costs. And how to determine these supplier costs? It is by using activity-based costing techniques. Next element in managing supplier is calculating the total cost of ownership. And to have a more accurate allocation of cost to supplier, a hierarchical structure can be used. And there are three levels of supplier activities and costs that are incurred by the company. First one is unit level activities. It is an additional activities that occur as a result of problems related to faulty quality or late delivery of materials by a particular supplier. Next level is order level activities. These activities triggered each time an order is placed with a particular supplier. It involves ordering material from supplier, receiving and inspecting order delivered, processing and paying supplier's invoice. The next level is supplier level activities. These activities incurred over the course of a supplier contract. It includes undertaking a quality audit to evaluate the supplier, employment of dedicated purchasing manager to manage the relationship with supplier, research and development activities that relate to the particular supplier. The steps to analyze total cost of ownership. First one is analyze the major activities that were driven by suppliers. Next is determine their activity drivers, followed by calculating cost per unit of activity driver. The formula to calculate cost per unit is estimated total annual cost of an activity divided by total number of times the activity performed during a year. And the next step is determine the total cost of ownership, and it is calculated by calculating the total cost of supplier related activities for the year. The last element in managing supplier is evaluating supplier performance. The analysis of supplier costs can be the basis for evaluating supplier's performance, and the Supplier Performance Index (SPI) is a technique to compare the performance of a range of a supplier. And the formula to calculate SPI is total supplier activity cost divided by total purchase price. There are a variety of criteria that the firm may use to evaluate suppliers' performance, and they include ability to supply at the contracted purchase price, material quality, supplier delivery performance, quality of relationship between employees, unions, and management. That's all for managing suppliers. The next part will be presented by Suhana. Thank you.
So we move on to the next part, which is benefit of supply chain, where the first one is great efficiency rate, where a company can predict the demand for a product and accordingly to fulfill the demand. When a company uses supply chain management, it have great efficiency rate because they know when it's the right time to increase or decrease the product in the market, so the demand will always fulfill and the product will not overproduce. Next one is better cost management, where it improves your inventory system and storing the finished good and improve your system responsiveness. So when they use supply chain management, they know what their stock level, whether it's high or low. If it's low, they need to produce more. So there is always demand in the market. Thus, competitors will not mark up their price because there is no longer stock in the market. The third benefit is increased output, where they need to make a communication and coordination better with supplier, vendor, transportation companies, and customer. The circle from raw material until consumer. If it's the company know all the criteria in the circle, they can monitor it and increase their output level. So the last one is no more delays, where it can mitigate any late shipment from vendor to supplier. They will always monitoring and manage itself from the raw material to arrive to the company and the finished good to deliver to the customer. Next one is limitation of supply chain management, where the first one is expensive to implement, where it requires large investment in terms of time, money, and other resources that become unaffordable for a small business because supply chain management need a proper planning. So they must hire someone professional, highly skilled, and have experience. So the process of hiring and recruiting someone is very costly. The second one is proper skill and training are required, where a company need to incur heavy expenses for acquiring such task force that is professional and highly skilled. When the staff of the company didn't get a proper training or supply chain management, they cannot be effective. For instance, in the factory nowadays, most people using machine to manufacture their product. When the working people doesn't know how to handle the machine, it will be causing of low production level and affect their supply chain management and causing to the delay of manufacturing the process. So the company have a low production level. Thank you. That's all for me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Next segment is using technology to enhance supply chain management. And the first one is e-commerce. E-commerce is the activity of electronically buying or selling of products on online services or over the internet. Business efficiency at all operational level is critical for the success of e-commerce. Supply chain management is essential component of e-commerce. Supply chain management in e-commerce focuses on procurement of raw material, manufacturing and distribution of the right product at the right time. It includes managing supply and demand, warehousing, inventory tracking, order entry, order management, distribution, and delivery to the customer. Next, we proceed with the second point, which is business to business. Business to business, or B2B, is the exchange of products, services, or information between business. These B2B transactions are common in a typical supply chain as companies purchase components and products such as other raw materials for use in the manufacturing processes. Finished products can then be sold to individuals via business to consumer transaction, and I will explain it later. With the groundwork built, the concept of B2B marketplaces as the participating units in a supply chain process in order to enhance the business process is employed. Virtual enterprises can use this extended form of supply chain as its building blocks. Third one is business to consumer, which is B2C. B2C refers to the process of selling products and services directly between a business and consumers who are the end users of its products or services. B2C traditionally referred to mall shopping, eating out at restaurants, pay-per-view movies, and the informations. However, the rise of the internet created a whole new B2C business channel in the form of e-commerce or selling goods and services over the internet. Next is EDI, which is the electronic interchange of business information using a standardized format. It is a process which allows one company to send information to another company electronically rather than with paper. Business entities conducting business electronically are called trading partners. EDI lets you collaborate more efficiently with your suppliers and push costs out of the supply chain by eliminating inefficiencies and manual intervention. Data interchange is an industry leader in supply chain integration for all types of and size of business. The last technology is ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning. An ERP system powers manufacturing businesses with accurate data and helps them to increase efficiencies and reduce costs across their entire organization. An ERP provides a comprehensive management system that allows for integration of transactions, material planning, and other functions into a single system. It also makes it easier for manufacturers to better manage all their operations, including their supply chain. Let's proceed with a clearer explanation for EDI. EDI enables the electronic transfer of business information between trading partners, which is B2B, through a standardized format. So let me explain a few of the most compelling benefits that EDI delivers to the supply chain. The first one is real-time transactions. It is because the information can be exchanged instantly and transactions executed in real time between trading partners. It also eliminates redundant, time-consuming, and error-prone tasks from the equation. Third point is cost and time saving. In B2B universe, paper-driven processes result in much higher costs and additional time required for trading partners to conduct their business. Typical repetitive tasks that apply to the processing of paper documents, such as printing and filing, are eliminated when you upgrade to an EDI solution. The fourth benefit, and last for me, is streamlined communication between trading partners, nets more sales, and better relationships. EDI streamlines not only transactions but all types of communications between trading partners, which nets more sales and enhances partner and customer relationships. For example, sales cycles are shortened, orders are taken and confirmed more rapidly, and customers gain more confidence in your ability to deliver superior service. So that's all from us. Thank you so much for your attention. Hope you have a good day and stay healthy. Bye.